appreciate him taking the time. We move forward. We just keep plugging along here. We got a busy hour. Hour number 2 is Patrick Stevens is in studio with us. And next up on the hot seat, we head down to Annapolis as they're getting ready to start the season Saturday against Mount St. Mary's. It's a pleasure to welcome in the coach of the midshipmen. He is Coach Joe Amplo. Coach, it's Glenn and Patrick. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us as always.
Guys, always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
So, a lot of headlines with your team, but I think the newcomer on the staff, this new guy that you found, I don't know what his story, this up-and-comer that you brought in, this guy Dave Cottle. Where'd you find this guy? What do you expect out of him? He's Coach. He's actually my former broadcast partner. I love the guy a great deal, but I love the opportunity to have fun with him. What was the thought process? How did this come about?
Well, he's showing signs of promise. I will tell you that there's a lot of potential in him. Listen, through the scenario we were forced into in December, Coach Cottle and I have always been great friends, and he's been a mentor of mine. Through conversations with him, he mentioned that he would have some interest. And once he said that, I was like, all right, how the heck do we make this work to bring this guy back into college lacrosse? Put him around my staff, me personally, and our players. I can think of no better scenario given the circumstances we were forced into. So he's been great. I think there's an energy around him that people are going to be surprised about. He's been extremely valuable with us in the office, and our guys on the field have really started to engage him in a really positive way. So it's been fun.
Joe, when I think about you guys, the first guys whose name comes to mind is Jackson Bonnets, just such a key figure for your defense since the day he showed up on campus. Just what has allowed him to develop into an even better player than he already was when he first arrived, and just how vital is he for what you guys want to do at the defensive end?
Yeah, Patrick, you're talking about the kid who was elected captain of captains here at the Naval Academy. 36 varsity sports. A brigade of midshipmen that are trained to be the world's leaders, and he was elected by his peers to be the captain of that group, which I think is just a remarkable feat, and it's a testament to who he is as a human being. He's done everything right since he's been here and worked to become an elite player, but more so an elite human being. He just goes about his business in a way that is exemplary and really just a beacon of light for us to follow. I do think his relationship with Coach Orson has been terrific, and John being, around some of the country's best through his time at Denver has developed and helped develop Jackson into a very, very solid, good defender.
Coach, your team obviously got off to a bit of a tough start a year ago with a lot of expectations, but we saw in the second half of the year you guys really start to put things together. Did you get a sense of what was going right and how you guys build off that in another year where there's a lot of expectations this year?
Yeah, I think unfair to us internally, we had high expectations for last year, and I think we took some things for granted.
Okay.
We started the season 3-0, and then we went on a 6-game skid with some poor play and just not reaching potential. Some injuries allowed us or kind of added to that, but that wasn't the reason. We just didn't. We underachieved, and it's my first time in 23 years of coaching that I can say that I've been around a team that didn't get the most out of itself, and we took that personally, And I do think that is the ingredient we need, and that's the thing that's driving us to hopefully find some success here. We've just got to get the most out of ourselves on a daily basis. That's our goal. If we do that, I believe that there's talent in here that people really aren't talking about right now, which is exciting for me as a guy who likes to prove myself. And hopefully if we find a team within this group that wants to prove themselves, I think we have a chance to do some good things this year on the field.
Sort of an unexpected thing that popped up on you guys last year. You had a great season at the Face-Off X, and then Anthony Gabriel leaves. How is that unit looking with him departing? And I know last year you felt like you had some options in the pipeline, and it turned out to be the case. Do you feel like that's a group that is kind of mirrors the rest of your team that you feel like you guys can surprise some folks with?
Yeah, look, we want to be around people who want to be here, and we got a group of kids who truly want to be at the Naval Academy, and that's what matters most. And I think, people are going to notice one guy in particular, Zach Hayashi, and the spirit and energy and toughness that he brings. There's no better example of a plebe at midshipman than Zach Hayashi. Right now, if there was an order of merit for the plebes, he'd be close to the top. He does everything right. He had a 4.0 GPA in the fall semester. He's got a smile on his face, and he plays with an energy that is contagious. So I feel very good with him as a newcomer to the face-off group, and the other guys pushing him. That we're certainly going to compete in that area of the field.
What about in goal? Has there been a decision made yet, Coach?
No final decision. I think we're getting closer to it. I want to say it's a game time decision, but we know internally where we're leaning.
Okay.
I think we feel very good about it. The competition from the end of last season, truly through the summer and into the fall, has been excellent, and it's raised the level of play for the guys in that group. And we're going to be happy with who we put in the pipes to start the season on Saturday.
Joe, I think it's the top 5 goal scorers from last season or back, Max Hewitt among them. How have you seen that group kind of develop since last season? And to kind of double back to Glenn's point about Dave Cottle a little bit earlier, how has his work kind of influenced them here over the last month or so?
Yeah, I think if there's one specific area from last year where we felt like we really underachieved, it was on the offensive end. I mean, heck, we were the worst shooting team in the country at 22%. And that's certainly something that we have taken to heart and worked on. But I think more so the thing that I evaluated was we felt like we never had a group that played consistently well together and as a team, and had an identity on that end of the field. And bringing in Coach Cottle, he's coached some of the best teams of this generation, and he's been around championship environments his entire career. He knows what that looks like. He knows what it sounds like and feels like. And the one directive that I gave him, if I can give him a directive, he's pretty much telling me what to do, is I just want to have a group of guys that play well together. Whatever that looks like schematically, if we can find 6 guys that we put out there at a time that are going to play together and play like a team on that end of the field, then I do believe with some of the pieces we have, we can score some goals and look pretty good.
Coach Joe Amplo from Navy with us here on the College Lacrosse Preview Show. Coach, I don't even know how significant of a difference it is. Obviously, Xavier's time with football came up, and so there's, I guess, no split in time the way there's been in past years this year. Does that make a tangible difference for you guys at all?
I gotta think it has to, just for him personally. I mean, I said this earlier to somebody. There's no kid his age that has gone through what he's gone through to be, the starting quarterback, not the starting quarterback at Division I level for Navy, playing in Army Navy games, having success, having some frustration, and then playing another sport at the Division I level at the Naval Academy. That young man has grown in so many ways that so many people don't see. And I'm proud of him for that. And I think that he can, because he can solely focus on this sport, the one that he loves this semester, we're going to get the best version of what Xavier Arline can be. Whether that's what people say he can be or not, wherever it is, he's going to get the most out of himself. He's uber talented. He's been working his tail off, and he is so focused on being as good as he can be this semester, which is exciting for all of us because he's a wonderful talent.
Saw that Richie Meade was able to speak to you guys last week, and that he's back in town and whatnot for a little bit. And when I think of people that are were great fits for a job, I think about Richie and his time at Navy. Just how meaningful is it to have him kind of reconnecting with the program at this point?
Yeah, it's super humbling. Richie's been a great mentor and now a great friend to me. I said this earlier to another group that was interviewing me, that when I was growing up in this sport, he was one of the pillars that I looked at and an example that I wanted to emulate. And when I think of Navy lacrosse and the success that we're trying to achieve, I point to the teams that Coach Meade coached, and I point to the teams that played so hard and had such an energy, and there was a style of play that people wanted to kind of emulate in those early to mid 2000s. And Coach Meade brought that, and to have him come back and be a part of, us in a small way, And for our guys to know him, a little bit more personally now, I think is really, really important. And there's no better person, there's no better example for someone who loves Navy lacrosse than Coach Mead. And if that came through on Friday when he was with us, that's an unbelievable achievement, because if our guys can play with that love and that passion that he has for this program, then we got a chance to be pretty good.
On the local front, AJ Marsh from McDonough, one of the more highly regarded prospects in the entire country. How quickly I heard some rave reviews about him from the scrimmage. How quickly do you feel like he can step in and make an impact for you guys?
I think right away, what that impact is, it's really up to him. He's got an unbelievable amount of talent. He's got a presence not only on the defensive end, but in the middle of the field. He plays with a joy that is fun to be around. It's just going to be a matter of how quickly does he know how good he can be, and is he willing to put that into play right away. But certainly he can change the way we play, because we're able to do some things that normally we wouldn't be able to do, because we have a player like that on our side.
And then I've been asking all morning, and you guys, of course, have a facility that seems like it'd be equipped for handling replay responsibilities. But what do you make of what this is going to look like? Have you gotten a sense for how much you guys are going to be able to use replay in this first year, and the functionality of it, and when it's appropriate to challenge, when it isn't? How much have you been able to spend time with that, Coach?
We've had 2 days of scrimmages, and I am 1 for 3 in challenge scenarios. I will say, of the 3 scenarios, if it were a game, I probably would not have thrown the flag.
Okay.
Aside from the last one, because I won't name the official, but he strongly recommended that I throw the flag. Probably because he felt bad that he said we had too many men on the field the previous possession and we didn't. So he was giving one back to me. But we did it more for just practicing the scenario of, all right, what does it look like? What does our team do when the refs are reviewing it, and what is the start and stop of that event due to a team as they're playing a game? So I don't know how big of an impact it's going to make in the regular season. There might be a 40% of the time that teams are going to utilize it in a game.
Yeah.
And then, thinking back to last year, I don't know how many scenarios I would have even thought of challenging. So
That's fair. That's fair. Obviously, everybody's talking about how important it'll be for the NCAA tournament, for the whole sport. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. Coach Joe Amplo, as we mentioned, things get underway Saturday against Mount St. Mary's at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Really appreciate taking the time for us, as always. Looking forward to seeing you during the season. Thanks so much for hopping on with us.
thanks, guys. Take care.
Coach Joe Amplo from Navy.